Hello and a very warm welcome. You are watching Gravitas with me, Gandhi. Did Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi help avert a nuclear war? Did he stop Russia from dropping a nuclear bomb on Ukraine? Did Prime Minister Modi help prevent what could have triggered a nuclear catastrophe? The answer is yes, and this has been revealed by American media. Let's just tell you what this is all about. An explosive report by CNN details what was kept under wraps for so long. Secret preparation for a nuclear war had started even as the deadly roller coaster of war threw all sides into the dangerous realms of uncertainty in the year 2022. America began preparations for a nuclear war. Officials were acting upon 1. Intelligence and 2. Analysis. Number 3. The developments. The story starts in the second half of 2022. Ukraine's counteroffensive was yielding results. Its troops were advancing towards Kherson. Russian units were in danger of virtual annihilation. In America, there was a fear that a possible bloodbath of Russian troops in Kherson could nudge Putin into pressing the nuclear button. Some officials in the US were convinced that Vladimir Putin would not view the fall of Kherson as just a battle lost in a long war. For Putin, Russia's loss of Kherson would be personal. He could possibly see it as a threat to the Russian state. You see, Russian nuclear doctrine is clear. The use of nuclear weapons is justified if enemy troops enter Russian territory and seem on victory roll. By logical extension, Russia can resort to the use of nuclear weapons if the existence of Russia is threatened. Would the fall of Kherson qualify as an extreme threat is the question. American officials were asking themselves this very question in late 2022, not too long after Putin and Biden's Geneva summit. There, the two leaders, remember, had reiterated the Gorbachev-Reagan statement, a nuclear war cannot be won and must never be fought. But you see, things had rapidly changed since, and they changed for the worse, by the way. From Western leaders to nuclear experts, everyone was sitting up in their chairs and closely watching. Many a times, they were trying to double-guess Russia's next big move. Some American officials, in fact, were also pointing at a possible false flag. In October 2022, Russia's defense minister, Sergei Shoigu, had made a series of phone calls. He had told defense officials in the United States, the UK, France, Turkey about the possibility that Ukraine could use a certain dirty bomb. A letter was also sent from Russia to the United Nations. It detailed basically the threat posed by this dirty bomb. It spoke about the possibility that Ukraine could detonate such a bomb against Russian forces and then blame the attack on the Kremlin. In America, the dirty bomb narrative was seen as a Russian pretext to launch a possible nuclear strike. You know, a false flag. What you had on ground in Washington was high tension. So then what did the US do? Tap India. Let me read out what the CNN report said. The US sought to enlist the help of non-allies, in particular India, to discourage Russia from such an attack. The report says the outreach and public statements by the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi helped avert a crisis. Let me repeat that. The outreach and public statements by the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi helped avert a crisis. In other words, Prime Minister Modi helped avert a possible nuclear war. Do you see America's tail tucked firmly between its legs? Because I do. And this is the same Biden administration that tried to basically force India to condemn Russia. It failed. It tried to arm twist India into taking a side in the Ukraine war, failed again. In the public, you see, the US was maintaining composure. On the 28th of February 2022, let me see that again. On the 28th of February 2022, US President Joe Biden was asked whether US citizens should be concerned about the start of a nuclear war. No, replied Biden. And the same day, then White House press secretary said, and I'm quoting here, "At this time, we see no reason to change our nuclear alert levels." By March 2022, the US had changed its tone. On the 25th of March, to be precise, the US National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan had said, "The potential nuclear weapon use is something we do have to be concerned about." What was it doing about it? Secretly, the US was relying on Indian diplomacy to avert a crisis. It was relying on Prime Minister Modi's rapport with Vladimir Putin to stop the potential use of nuclear weapons in Ukraine. This is yet another failure of the American diplomacy, also a big victory for Indian diplomacy, and above all, the diplomacy of the Indian Prime Minister, Narendra Modi. You see, from the very beginning of this war, Prime Minister Modi has been focusing on solutions, not politics. India has not been in support of villainizing or alienating either parties. Instead, it has been pushing for dialogue. It has been pushing for peace. In the 2022 G20 summit in Bali, Prime Minister Modi told the world that this is not the era for war. This declaration went on to become the crux of the G20 leaders' statement that year. And days after returning from his state visit in the US, Prime Minister Modi dialed Putin. He called for dialogue and diplomacy to end the war. When the last leader of the Soviet Union, Mikhail Gorbachev, was accepting his 1991 Nobel Prize, he said, and I'm quoting, "The risk of global nuclear war has practically disappeared." The Ukraine war proved otherwise. In the last 2 years, we've seen the nuclear word being thrown around. Rather, February 24, 2022, that was the day it all really started. And that day, Russia invaded Ukraine. Putin said that whoever tries to stand in Russia's way will be met with a response, the likes of which has, quote unquote, you have not seen in your entire history. In April 2022, the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said we should not wait for the moment when Russia decides to use nuclear weapons. We must prepare for that. But who, amidst all this escalation, is preparing for peace? The West is busy arming and rearming Ukraine. It is setting the stage for a prolonged war. Countries are modernizing their military, preparing for a possible World War III. Weapon companies are the happiest. Their sales are skyrocketing. And amid all of this, India is trying to talk peace. Since this story about Prime Minister Modi's role in the dousing of the fire of a possible nuclear war was broken by the US media, I'll end with something that the Indian Prime Minister had told a US daily with regard to the Ukraine war during his state visit to the US. Some people say that we are neutral, but we are not neutral. We are on the side of peace. And turns out American officials secretly always knew what the Indian Prime Minister meant. And talking of escalations, Russia has started using a powerful new monster bomb in battleground Ukraine. It is called the FAB 1500, not the FAB 500. We know Russia has already dropped them on Ukraine. I'm specifically talking about FAB 1500, a giant new glide bomb. It is heavier, meaner, and more dangerous. It has dramatically boosted Russia's effectiveness in the Ukraine war. And according to reports, Moscow can thank this new bomb for its recent successes in the battleground. So what is this new powerful weapon all about, and what really does it mean for the Ukraine war? Let me tell you, along with Russian drones, missiles, artillery, these glide bombs have added a whole new destructive firepower to Russia's campaign in eastern Ukraine. Remember Russia's conquest of the city of Avdiivka? Its first major victory in nearly a year. It was all thanks to FAB 1500. This bomb is so big and so heavy, it can create a crater 15 meters wide. You heard that right. Russia has been able to convert the Soviet-era weapon into what is probably one of the most destructive weapons in its arsenal. Western reports, in fact, saying it is yet another example of how Russia inflicts massive destruction before trying to take territory. Just take a look at the videos from the battlefield. These videos shared by the Russian Defense Ministry are proof of the immense power of these bombs. Russia has dropped these bombs on Ukraine's thermal power plants, factories, tower block. In short, Russia has dropped these bombs on sites which the Ukrainians use to coordinate their defenses. Very serious and guaranteed damage. The Ukrainians also have their own glide bombs, but they just weigh 500 pounds. So in comparison, the Russian munition is a giant. It is so bulky that one Russian fighter jet can only haul 2 of them at a time. They can be dropped from the air from a distance of some 60 to 70 kilometers, which is out of range of many Ukrainian air defenses. The question is, can Ukraine counter these Russian bombs? And the short answer to that is no, because the most effective counter to this Russian menace is still a long way off. You see, Ukraine still does not have the most coveted American fighter jets, the F-16s. Experts say that these bombs offer Russia a new and far more destructive strike capability. It also helps Russian pilots stay away when they drop these bombs. Was able to raze to the ground Ukraine's defenses in and around Avdiivka. During the Battle of Avdiivka, Russia had dropped hundreds of these bombs on the city. Russian military bloggers began referring to this weapon last September when its accuracy was reportedly being tested. They talked about how the bomb had accurately hit its target for the first time. It is said that these heavy bombs are accurate to within 5 meters. And then within a few weeks, both Ukrainian and Russian reports referred to the use of a massive bomb. They were reportedly used in Ukraine's Kherson and Kharkiv. And then in January, the Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu was seen touring the plant of the JSC Tactical Missiles Corporation. It is a major arms manufacturer in the Moscow region. A video shared by the Russian Defense Ministry said that the company had developed a high-precision munition, converting old free-fall bombs into weapons that would glide to their target. So here's the bottom line. Do not underestimate Russian glide bombs. The Ukrainians have their own smaller glide bombs, yet they fear the giant Russian bombs, a potent weapon with questionable accuracy. The Ukrainian air defenses just do not have the range to hit Russian jets carrying these bombs if they are positioned 70 kilometers away. Ukraine needs Western fighter jets and long-range weapons. Ukrainian pilots are currently training on F-16 combat aircraft, but they may not deploy to Ukraine until the second half of the year. And as far as long-range weapons are concerned, the American Patriot missile system is one of the few defenses with the range to counter this threat. And unfortunately, Ukraine has a limited number of Patriots left, and the missiles are in short supply due to delays in the US Congress passing further military aid. Ukrainian officials, including President Volodymyr Zelensky, have consistently appealed for longer-range air defense weapons to thwart the Russian aerial threat. Possessing these would significantly enhance Ukraine's ability to counter the Russian bomb menace. The longer the West delays, the stronger Russia's bombing capabilities become. Meanwhile, Ukrainian forces, particularly in Donetsk, face a barrage of over 100 Russian airstrikes a day. Similar to previous artillery attacks, the Russians now deploy an apparently endless supply of devastating bombs, leaving Ukrainian forces defenseless and shelterless. Will there be more Avdiivkas for Ukraine because of this? We won't be surprised if that happens. The Muslim holy month of Ramadan begins today. It's supposed to be a joyous time. People of Muslim faith celebrate it with their friends and family members. They pray, they fast. But the people of Gaza hardly have any reason to celebrate, and they have already been fasting, starving rather, because there is no food. Let alone something special for iftar. Many are surviving on flat bread cooked over wood fires and tinned goods sent in humanitarian aid. At least 20 in northern Gaza have died from malnutrition and dehydration. Vulnerable children in the south are also affected. Half a kg of sugar now costs $10. Salt is almost unobtainable. Fresh fruit or vegetables, a luxury. There are no decorations either. The neighborhoods that used to be adorned with lights and lanterns now stand deserted or have been reduced to rubble altogether. All that the people of Gaza have are dilapidated tents in refugee camps, and that too if they are lucky. Many are mourning the death of their loved ones. Others are mourning separation. Families have been split up. Some who managed to escape to Rafah had to leave their loved ones behind for one reason or the other. Just yesterday, as Palestinians prepared for the holy month ahead, they were met with fresh airstrikes. At least one died in Rafah, 10 in Khan Yunis, 10 in the west of Gaza City. Yes, this is how they began the month of Ramadan, with bomb strikes. And it's not just the strikes. As I said, the besieged Palestinian territory is also dealing with a humanitarian crisis. Arab states as well as the US have been airdropping life-sustaining supplies, but it is doing little to actually improve the situation. Most of the supplies miss their intended drop-off point. Many even fall into the sea. Some food packages smash open on impact. But Palestinians are in a desperate state. They have no other choice than to scramble and pick through dirt to get some food on their plates. Listen to their plight yourself.
We went
to Nabulsi roundabout to get some flour, but we didn't get it, so we came here for some airdrop supplies. But look what ended up happening with the aid airdropped to us by Arab countries.
I have been here a week but only got 3 cans. This place is isolated from the outside world and has poor transportation. Most of the supplies have fallen into the sea. Honestly, we got nothing, and we wanted better aid methods than airdrops.
The UN has already sent out a warning. At least 576,000 people in Gaza are one step away from famine. And that makes up a quarter of its over 2 million population. Aid is failing to reach those in need. A UAE-funded ship carrying 200 tons of food for Gaza remained docked in a Cyprus port. But how will it reach Gaza? The strip has no port infrastructure. The US has promised to build a temporary pier to facilitate the aid deliveries. The US Army, in fact, has dispatched a logistics ship carrying equipment for the same. But how long will that take, and what happens until then? The situation is dire, to say the least. Palestine is devastated. Still, some Palestinians are trying to keep the hope alive. Hundreds gathered in Jerusalem's Al-Aqsa Mosque compound to take a look at Ramadan's crescent moon. The worshippers also took part in the evening prayers. But that's about it. Palestine is shrouded in gloom. The festivities have been reduced to prayers. Here's what some of the residents of the West Bank have to say.
Unfortunately, there is low turnout. No one is buying. There is no joy for Ramadan this year. We wait for Ramadan annually, but because of the situation, the turnout is bad. People do not even want to buy anything. No one is decorating.
Ramadan this year comes as Palestinians are living in a tragic situation, massacres, war against humanity. So in Hebron's municipality, we decided to mark Ramadan with religious rituals only and prohibit all celebrations and decorations of streets.
In Rafah, surprisingly, people are trying to keep their spirits up. Displaced Palestinians decorated their tents, children held up Ramadan lanterns, others hung balloons while singing songs.
Ramadan is a blessed month despite the fact this year is not like every year. But we are steadfast and patient, and we will welcome the month of Ramadan as usual, with decorations, songs, with prayers and fasting. Next Ramadan, we wish for Gaza to come back. Hopefully, all the destruction and siege taking place in Gaza will change, and all will come back in a better shape.
What is the best way to seek revenge from your ex if you want to do that? Going on a vacation? Excelling in your career? Finding someone better perhaps? How about defeating them in an election? Surely that would not have come to your mind. But for this couple, rather ex-couple in India, it's showtime. The estranged duo is taking the fight all the way to the polls. The two will be facing off in the Lok Sabha or lower house election in Bengal. Meet the ex-husband. His name is Soumitra Khan. He is a Bharatiya Janata Party candidate. He is fighting for the Bishnupur seat of Bankura district in Bengal. Today, the ruling Trinamool Congress announced its candidates. And guess what? It has brought in Soumitra Khan's ex-wife, Sujata Mondal. She will be fighting for the same seat as her ex-husband. It is an all-out family drama, and I haven't even told you the half of it yet. Guess why these two split up? From what reports are saying, it was again politics. Their jobs became a wedge between the two. It was a question of loyalty, not to each other, but to their parties. You see, Soumitra Khan was earlier a member of the Trinamool Congress. He won the seat in Bishnupur back in 2014 on a Trinamool ticket. And 2 years later, he got married to Sujata. All was well and good. In the year 2019, Soumitra once again contested in the elections, but this time he had switched sides. He swore allegiance to the BJP. Nonetheless, he won his seat, and who helped him? His beloved wife Sujata. Soumitra Khan did not hesitate from giving her the credit, by the way. He attributed his electoral success to Sujata for her hard work in campaigning for her husband. But you see, as time went by, Sujata developed ambitions of her own. She also decided to be a politician. But there was one hiccup. Her husband did not approve. In the year 2021, Sujata decided to pursue her dreams anyway. She decided to contest in the assembly election in the state on a Trinamool ticket. This did not sit right with Soumitra. So what did he do? Something very dramatic. He ended the relationship, and he did it on television. For Sujata, it was a double hit. She lost her husband, and weeks later, she lost to a BJP candidate in the polls. The couple never got back together, and now it seems things are only going to get all the more heated. Soumitra has dismissed the contest. He says that Sujata does not have enough experience as a politician. He is in fact upset over the importance being given to his ex-wife. And as for Sujata, she says her opponent has not done a thing in the last 10 years and that she will not spare him in the fight. You see, it's a battle of exes and it's only getting fierce. If there is one takeaway from all of this, it is don't bring politics into your marriage or your marriage into politics. As for breaking up with your spouse on television, I'm sure you already know better. The Nehru-Gandhi family of India is one of the most prominent political dynasties anywhere in the world and equally deep-rooted and well-known as their social and political association with the Indian state of Uttar Pradesh. Generations of the family fought and won elections from the state of UP. Many Gandhis have won Lok Sabha elections for the Congress from the state of Uttar Pradesh, and they have done it for the ruling BJP as well. And coming to the Congress, the Nehru-Gandhi family's name has always been associated with the names of seats like Phulpur, Raebareli, Amethi. These are constituencies that have elected Jawaharlal Nehru and his daughter Indira Gandhi right since independence. Of note is the constituency of Amethi that was won by Indira Gandhi's son Rajiv Gandhi in the year 1981. Since 2004, the seat of Amethi has been contested by the Congress leader Rahul Gandhi. Rahul Gandhi first won Amethi in 2004. He was re-elected to the seat in 2009. Winning from Amethi seemed a done deal for the Gandhis and the Congress party. But it was in the 2014 general election that the Congress party and Rahul Gandhi got their first jolt. 2014 was the year his opponent Smriti Irani from the BJP gave Rahul a tough fight. Smriti Irani lost that battle, but with a much thinner margin than when Rahul Gandhi defeated his opponents in previous years. After the 2014 loss, Smriti Irani campaigned hard to come back. And come back she did, giving a huge shock to the Nehru-Gandhi family by winning the seat in the state of Uttar Pradesh that had favoured the family for over 3 decades. The Amethi defeat unnerved the Congress party so much that despite all the talk of Rahul Gandhi needing to take on Smriti Irani in a rematch in Amethi, the party has not yet been able to take a decision on the matter. And the same is the case, by the way, with Raebareli in the state of Uttar Pradesh. Since 1951, the Congress has lost the seat in only 3 Lok Sabha elections. Former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi won here 3 times, her husband and Congress leader twice. So have other members of the family. Former Congress President Sonia Gandhi held the seat for 4 terms in a row. But before the upcoming 2024 election, Sonia vacated the seat to get elected to the Rajya Sabha, the upper house of the Indian Parliament. And it is widely speculated that her daughter Priyanka Gandhi will contest the seat. But all signs are that the party is losing its hold on the seat. In the 2022 Uttar Pradesh Assembly polls, the Congress lost in all the 5 assembly segments in the Raebareli constituency. Not only that, it ended up coming 3rd in 4 assembly constituencies, which, by the way, indicates how tough it will be for Priyanka Gandhi if she contests from the seat. Let's just consider the case of the other Gandhis who found comfort under the ruling BJP's umbrella. Apparently, they are faring no better. Menaka Gandhi, the sister-in-law of Sonia Gandhi, joined the BJP in the year 2004. And since then, she has delivered wins from the constituency in Uttar Pradesh to the BJP. The BJP, in fact, gave her son Varun Gandhi the Sultanpur seat in Uttar Pradesh. But so far, for the upcoming 2024 election, there is uncertainty for both the mother and the son. The BJP's first list of 51 candidates from the electorally crucial Uttar Pradesh state does not include the 2 seats. The question is, are we witnessing the era of decline of the Gandhis in the state of Uttar Pradesh? And staying with India, the government of India today made a crucial announcement regarding the implementation of the Citizenship Amendment Act, a decision that comes 4 years after the bill was first passed and just weeks before India heads to the polls. The CAA, which makes religion for the first time a test of citizenship in India, was cleared by the Parliament amid fierce resistance from the opposition in December 2019. And within weeks of the law's enactment, protests and violence broke out around the country. Scores were killed, hundreds were injured during days of clashes. But what exactly does the law state, and what does its implementation mean for the upcoming elections? The CAA amends the Citizenship Act of 1955. It provides a fast-track pathway to Indian citizenship for non-Muslim migrants from Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Foreigners Act 1946 and the Passport Act 1920. These two acts specify punishment for entering the country illegally and staying in the country on expired visas and permits. According to reports, there will be over 30,000 immediate beneficiaries from the act. Now that the notification is issued, a spokesperson for the Home Ministry has said that eligible individuals could submit citizenship applications online. A web portal has been set up solely for this. No documentation will be sought from the applicants. CAA's implementation is a big development in India. It was a major campaign platform for the Prime Minister Modi's BJP before the 2019 election. And so the fact that it comes just before the election this year is noteworthy. Just a month ago, the Indian Home Minister Amit Shah had said that the law will definitely be notified, excluded from the proposed Citizens Register, which excluded Muslims will have to prove their citizenship. Meanwhile, in Northeast India, the agitation against the act had other reasons. Unlike in the rest of India, where the no NRC chorus grew, for people in the northeastern states of Assam and Tripura, the threat to linguistic and cultural identities of the tribal communities had become the basis for the agitation. For them, the determination of citizenship on religious lines compounded that threat. There were concerns that the CAA contradicts Assam Accord of 1985. It states that illegal migrants, irrespective of religion, who had entered India from Bangladesh after 1971 would be deported. You see, illegal migration from Bangladesh has for long been a concern in northeastern states. The influx of migrants in the state had inalienably altered the demography, besides putting a severe strain on the state's resources and the economy. As per reports, there are an estimated 20 million illegal migrants from Bangladesh in the state of Assam. So how did the government address these concerns? Well, through exceptions. As far as the agitation in the northeast was concerned, the government made it clear that the CAA does not apply to certain areas. These are tribal areas of Assam, Meghalaya, Mizoram and Tripura. It is also as per the 6th schedule of the Indian Constitution, which aims to protect indigenous and tribal groups. Further, the exceptions also include the states regulated by the Inner Line Permit under the Bengal Eastern Frontier Regulations 1873. And as far as the rights of religious minorities are concerned, the Indian Home Minister has said time and again the CAA does not intend to target minorities. Amit Shah has asserted that under the Prime Minister Modi-led government, the rights of each citizen are equally protected. He had said, and I'm quoting, "The only religion that the Modi government follows is the Constitution of India. We are not here only to run the government, but to solve the genuine problems of the common man." They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. Our next story is about a photograph that is worth 1,000 question marks. The photograph has been at the center of a raging row. There has been speculation. There have been a series of questions over one picture. What's the row about, and whose photograph are we talking about? At the center of this story is the Princess of Wales, Kate Middleton. And this is the photo we are talking about. Looks like an ordinary family photograph, right? One would think that is Kate Middleton posing with her children, George, Charlotte and Louis. But dig deeper and there are multiple question marks that emerge. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. First things first, this photograph was posted through the official social media accounts of the Prince and Princess of Wales. This was basically to mark Mother's Day celebrations in Britain. This was more than just a picture. It was Kate Middleton resurfacing on social media after a while. Remember, she recently had an abdominal surgery? There was a lot of chatter over her whereabouts recently, so it was supposed to set a tone of normalcy after a lot of speculation over where she was. You know, this photograph was supposed to send out a message that everything is okay and end all the speculation. But quite the opposite actually happened. The photograph became the starting point of a whole new fresh row. The move backfired, and how? Here's what happened. After the photograph was put out, several social media users noticed and pointed out how the picture was edited. In fact, agencies like the Associated Press, Reuters, AFP withdrew the photograph. AFP said that it has emerged that the handout photo had been altered and therefore it was withdrawn from the AFP systems. AP, meanwhile, noted an inconsistency in the alignment of Princess Charlotte's left hand. The list of questions kept getting longer and longer. Why was Kate not wearing her engagement ring? Not just that, there was no wedding ring either, which was odd to say the least. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, why was Princess Charlotte's wrist looking so odd? There were all sorts of signs of modification, alteration. The controversy kept getting bigger. Conspiracy theories started doing the rounds. And then came an apology from Kate Middleton herself. Yes, an apology. What did she say? Kate put out this statement. I'm quoting from it. Like many amateur photographers, I do occasionally experiment with editing. I wanted to express my apologies for any confusion the family photograph we shared yesterday caused. I hope everyone celebrating had a very happy Mother's Day. Now, wait a second. Experimenting with editing, is that what this is really about? And if that is what happened, experimenting with editing in such a manner at a time like this, was this necessary? Couldn't things have been managed in a better way? You know, to ensure that things don't spiral out of control. How is all this okay? Today, after the photo editing row, the Princess of Wales made an unexpected public appearance. Kate was photographed leaving Windsor Castle with her husband, Prince William. What does all of this mean for the palace's reputation? Why was the picture edited in the first place? Have such edits been carried out in the past? If yes, by whom and why? And if not, then why did it happen this time around? So many questions. Basically, as you can tell, this fiasco has only made matters worse, and that's the last thing the royal family needed at this point. This photograph has only added fuel to a fire that was already raging out of control, and the palace is left facing the heat. The First Lady of a country is a title that is usually reserved for the wife of a head of state or the chief executive. But Pakistan, it seems, is making a departure from tradition. For the first time in the country's history, it will be a daughter and not the wife of the president who will be getting this formal title. The lady in question will be Asifa Bhutto. Asifa is the daughter of the newly appointed Pakistan President Asif Ali Zardari and his late wife, the former Pakistani Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto. Now, for the people of Pakistan, the 31-year-old has been a familiar face besides Zardari in Pakistani politics. On Sunday, Asifa was very much in attendance when Zardari was sworn in as the 14th President of Pakistan. Now, Zardari's late wife, Benazir Bhutto, was assassinated in the year 2007, remember, and the position of First Lady had been vacant in his previous innings as the Pakistan President from 2008 to 2013. So what exactly are the First Lady's duties really, and what is the role that Asifa is supposed to be performing? Well, First Ladies usually perform duties that are ceremonial, but they are extremely critical in the social and political calendar of any head of state. First and foremost, Asifa will be the hostess of the presidential house. That means she will be organizing official ceremonies and functions of the state. In some cases, she will be doing it along with her father, the president, or more importantly, she will be even attending occasions in place or events in place of the president. Now, according to media reports, the role for Asifa is in keeping with Zardari's intentions to keep all his 3 children, his son Bilawal, daughters Bhaktawar and Asifa, well entrenched with very vital roles in the political landscape of Pakistan. Asifa made her political debut in the year 2020. And since then, she has been an active campaigner for her brother, Bilawal Bhutto Zardari. And also going by the Pakistani media reports, Asifa Bhutto has been seen alongside her father more often than her brother Bilawal or even sister Bhaktawar. In fact, according to reports, in the year 2012, Asifa is said to have accompanied her father when he visited social rights activist Malala Yousafzai in Birmingham. Malala, who was then a 15-year-old, was shot in the head by a Taliban gunman and was being treated in the UK hospital. Zardari and Asifa met Malala and the doctors who were treating her. And if reports are to be believed, Asifa comes to her role as First Lady with plenty of experience. For one, she has been a constant presence at several political ceremonies, galas, rallies that have been addressed by both her siblings and her father. Notably, Asifa has also had a high-profile role as polio eradication ambassador in the country. Remember, polio eradication is a very significant but sensitive health mission in Pakistan. It is often under attack by religious extremists who look at it with suspicion. And in that, Asifa has been a familiar face to the general masses. She is also no stranger, by the way, to the riskier side of public life. Accompanying her brother, Bilawal, in a public procession, she was once hit by a media drone. Asifa sustained minor injuries, but according to reports, bravely pressed ahead with the rally. On that note, is a wrap on this edition of Gravitas Tonight. This is me, Molly Gambhir, signing off. Thanks very much for watching.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business